The word power has gotten a bit warped in our culture. We hear this word and we think of sinister corporate entities or Big Brother. But the truth is that we live in a time where we need to find and embrace our personal power more than ever. It's not only important, it's actually vital for the re-empowerment of a healthy and healed culture. I'm Asia Suler of One Willow Apothecaries, and these are my 3 practices for reclaiming my power. Part of my training is in shamanism, and one of these concepts within this shamanic framework that is cross-cultural is the idea of reclaiming our power, that all of us have an innate power source that really is who we are, and along the way we lose bits and pieces of our power. So oftentimes we undertake journeys to bring our power back. And one of the signs that you've lost your power is that you seem listless, apathetic, like the light has gone out of your eyes. And can you name at least a few people in your life who probably look this way? Or sometimes you might look in the mirror and feel that way yourself. So many of us need to really reclaim our power. Now, I want to take this word power and give it a wider context. Power to me is recognizing that you are empowered by a source that transcends your physical body or your current personality. Power is what I would call the spirit or the life force that animates you. This is what true power is, and this is the kind of power that actually makes the world go around. So how do we recall these feelings of empowerment for ourselves so we can actually be agents of goodness and positive change in the world so we can stand in our confidence and our power and go forth? One of the first things I recommend is to actually do something for others. There's interesting research about power and what power really means if you start diving into it. And I love in particular a book by Dr. Keltner called The Power Paradox. In the book, he talks about the idea that power, instead of being something that you take, is actually something that's given to you by your culture. In this way of thinking, power is actually your ability to influence people. People give you power when you are an influencer. So doing something for others is actually a way of increasing and raising your personal power and therefore increasing and empowering your community at large. Researchers like Keltner are showing that soft power, things like art, culture, thought, ideas, is actually much more lasting than hard power, which would be things like military might, invasion, economic sanctions, bullying. In this way of thinking, when we actually bring something to the table, something that's viable, our community gives us power. I also really believe that we are given power by what I would call our wider selves. And the more we are open to our life purpose, which is always in one way, shape, or form about giving back and being part of the healing here, then we will literally be more empowered. The next empowerment practice is to reframe your story. So we've already talked about how soft power actually has such a lasting influence, but I'm going to tell you one of the most powerful forces on earth is storytelling. Advertisers recognize this, politicians, you name it. And this is because storytelling is a part of the fabric of human culture and society. Storytelling is how we pass on information, it's how we know the world, and it's how we know ourselves. So if you are feeling disempowered in yourself, in your life, look at the stories that you're telling yourself about your life path, about your history, about who you are and why you are where you are. Our lives are truly just the stories we tell ourselves about them. All that's real in this moment is the present moment. Everything else is a story that you've told yourself about the past or the future. And the really cool thing is that you can shift the story. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back into a trauma or something from my past that feels like it actively took my power away and reworked the telling of that story. Oftentimes, these moments in our lives are moments that we actually pass on through story. We tell them often. So next time you're retelling a story of a moment where you felt maybe disempowered, ask yourself, how can I tell it a little bit differently this time? Because the interesting thing is, you are the storyteller of your life, and your life will be the story that you tell. So think about how you might want to reform your story so you can be the hero or the heroine at the center. The next thing is to make a solar plexus rub. Herbal body oiling is a wonderful practice to soothe the central nervous system, nourish the skin, and drop into a state of relaxed being. I often find that when I'm inhabiting my body, that's when I feel the most powerful. In the chakra system, your solar plexus, which is right about at the bottom of your rib cage, is the seat of your personal power. This is where your confidence comes from, your self-knowledge, and your ability to stand in your truth. My favorite herb to work with to make an infused oil specifically for my solar plexus is St. John's wort or St. Joan's wort. Blooming around the summer solstice, St. John's wort has a long history of use as an herb for protection. In fact, its scientific name, Hypericum, means to ward off. This herb was traditionally used to create a boundary to ward off things like apparitions or the evil eye. As a physical medicine, it's really protective as well. St. John's wort has gotten a big reputation as being an herb for depression, but actually the way in which this works is the herb helps us clear things out through our liver. So through being a hepatic, something that supports liver functioning, the liver being all about cleansing and clearing what's not us, it helps us release things like cortisol and excess of stress hormones so we can come back into balance with ourselves. This is also considered to be a protective herb for our outer physical body. This is a great herb for wound healing, rashes, burns, scrapes, and bruises. Anywhere we've come into contact with the outside world and gotten a little bit battered because of it. I think this is important when we talk about personal power because oftentimes we're born into this world knowing that we're super powerful. And it's the experience of being a bit bruised by being here that takes away that assurance after a while. To make an infused oil with St. John's wort, I like to work with the fresh herb because it's more vital and more potent than dried St. John's wort. I let the flowers wilt for about 12 to 24 hours to remove some water content from my infused oil, and then I combine it with the oil, make a bit of a slurry, and let it sit anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks in a sunny windowsill. A lot of people have some issues with developing mold in their oil, so it's good to be checking it on a daily basis, make sure everything looks beautiful, and ideally your oil will be a ruby red color. And this red color is really indicative of another property of St. John's wort, which is its ability on this energetic level to really help flush us out with blood. Blood being this life force that literally courses through our veins and brings power to all of our digits. I like to use this infused oil directly onto my solar plexus when I'm feeling like I need to experience my power, and I pair it with an affirmation. Something like, I am loved and protected. I am safe to be in my power. So if you're jazzed by any of this content, come join me for my new online class, Herbs for Empowerment. In the class, we'll talk about the nature of authentic power, how to hold healing boundaries, and really potentize your powerful gifts in this world. In the class, we talk about the herbs that help us to stand stronger, to know ourselves deeper, and to really claim our personal power. We'll also explore at-home preparation, tips, tricks, plant ID, as well as personal meditation and ritual to connect into this deep well of your life force. You can find out all the details about this class through the link below. And if you liked this video, share with someone you love, someone who you know is so powerful, they just gotta see it. And I'd love to know from you, of all the practices that I shared today, what most resonates with your personal practices for finding and standing in your power. I really believe all of us have so much to teach each other, and I would love to learn from you.